Absolutely lovely gift to receive, that is. Now, another programme... Oh, yeah, here's another programme now. You'll love this one, right? This is a programme that I made, right? Funny enough, there's a young lad, he's a friend of mine, trying to make a go of it in show business, and I gave him a job. Normally, I do the voiceovers, but I gave this young lad, friend of mine, a job doing the voiceover on this. And it tells the tale of some of the horror that is reeking across England at the moment, and the fact that the young kids have gone completely out of control, and this is a little programme I made about it.
This is Great Missenden, Buckinghamshire, a sleepy village in the Chilterns. On the last day of June last summer, its peace and quiet was shattered by a full-scale battle between rival gangs of teenagers, an event that some people have called the Great Missenden Riot. At closing time, the Great Missenden gang left this pub and walked down the village high street to the car park, where another large gang from Chesham was waiting for them. Alarmed villagers called the police, who sealed off all roads into the village. The result was over 60 arrests, and this year in March, 29 young people were convicted of a number of charges, including making an affray. Over the past year, local newspapers all over Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire have carried the same kind of stories over and over again.
Granny fights lone war on teenage mob. Night of terror as gangs Youth went on rampage in court is told in villages night of terror. Savage skinhead gangs. Why do we tolerate these lads? Why?
Over 60 arrests, 29 people convicted in a night of mindless violence in a sleepy little town like that. We're going to take a look now at the gang that was responsible for that. The great hoarding mass of wasted youth, the forgotten generation that perpetrated this terrible outrage.
Tolerate these lads.
There you go. Hey! That's 4 little Herberts. That's it. That's the entire... That is it, I promise you. It don't come any stronger than that. They are the hard men of this area, right? Are you aware of the thing with the Corleones and the Costatinos and the Bangiattis, right? They were the 3 of the great Costa Rosa mafia families. And what happens is sometimes they unite to form an even stronger family. And that's what's happened with these boys here, as they'll explain.
Before we all joined up together, there was 2 lots of Abbots, wasn't there? There was the top end and the bottom end. We used to have fights with the bottom end of Abbots and against the top end of Abbots, because it's long. It's not a very big place, but it's long. You know, from the top to the bottom.
It's like Sicily. It's not very big, but it's long. And all the hard boys lived at the top, and they used to come down. Watch this fella here, right? Who's just sitting listening. Oh, it's okay, I've got a tattoo. That's how hard I am, pal. And then realises that his friend is starting to tell a story about him.
Go as you can. I mean, for instance, look at him here. One night, we went to a party. A load of blokes got him down the alley.
Yeah, you don't need to tell him that.
Beating up his face. You know, you could tell his forehead was out here.
Yeah, all right, leave it. They don't want to know that. If I want to tell that story, I'll tell it. Don't tell it for me, all right?
His eyes were all red, blood, you know.
Yeah, but you will tell them that there was 37 of them, won't you?
And his lips and his mouth, and it was really done him bad. And that was by 3 blokes.
All right. Yeah, all right, I'm a bit of a wimp. I had a headache that night, all right? There's another fella in this gang who was a favourite of mine. I remember him when I was doing the show. He was in a gang of mods, right, but he was only 8 years old. He'd never spoken in his life, and suddenly, because he saw the cameras, he launched into one. He was sitting right, and he launched into one, much to the shock and embarrassment of his friends, who didn't even realise he could speak.
I find it easier when you're in a cult to communicate with anyone else, other people. Before I was in mod, I found that I couldn't really communicate with other people, not necessarily just mod, but those of other people. You know, I just thought it was more shy or something, I don't know. Now I find it a lot easier.
Is he in our gang? Is he your brother? I thought he was your brother. I don't know who he is. No, seriously, you lot think you're hard, like in Peckham and Lewisham and Toxteth and Solihull and Moss Side and places like that, Hagley, right? You don't know. These guys live right on the edge, right, of Buckinghamshire.
Malcolm Lucky, who lives near Aylesbury, has been involved in this type of dispute.
Well, the sort of main thing that happens around here is between Aston Clinton and Tring.
Aston, Clinton and Tring. You look through any book on crime in this country and Aston, Clinton and Tring will figure very heavily.
I know quite a few people, you know, will always had trouble with them. It's been going on for a number of years. Usually find if there's a disco on in Aston, Clinton, you get a lot of Tring people coming down, causing trouble.
Knocking the Pims over and rearranging the flower displays. It all gets very, very heavy, I'll tell you that. And here's a few more of the problems that they have.
Well, the bus is sort of unreliable. Like, I mean, in London you've got the tubes and they're running sort of all the time. You go to a tube station, you don't have to wait 2 minutes for a sort of train to go anywhere. But here you sort of wait an hour for a bus, and that's no good if you want to go anywhere. Like.
And the way this also, don't forget, this kind of transport problem leads to other huge problems, like imagine, well, this kind of thing.
And if you're being chased by someone, I mean, there's no good sort of banging about, waiting for trouble.
But listen, not only have you got to go and cause a fight with someone from Tring, run the risk of not getting a bus when you're children, but to make things worse, Mr. Brittus does the driving for you. It's a complete nightmare out there.
Like, they did exaggerate a bit. I mean, down Watford, they think there's about 150 of us, something like this, 90 of us, and there was only 12 of us, you know, all the time.
So they thought there was 150 of us, but there's only 12 of us. No, there's only 5 of you. There you are. That's your gang, mate.
Because Watford is so hard to get to, the Abbots Langley skinheads had to use the village phone box to set up their fights. The phone box soon became a symbol of their gang.
It's just the local phone box in like the village.
That's it, that's their office. I got a little secretary working there. Hello, you want to have a fight with us 2 o'clock Tuesday? I'll just see if we're free. I'm sorry, we've got a bit of a run-in with the Tring boys there. Can you have before?
But we get a lot of people ring up there saying we're coming down and, you know, they ring up all the time. We get on there and up every night. We're coming down, we're going to smash your place up, we're going to get you all this and that. Last year, when we used to all go out, like if we weren't going anywhere, that's where we used to all hang out, around there. Because there's a seat and that's by the chip shop and that. We used to all go there, and we used to get phone call after phone call.
Right, so let's just have a little recap here. They moan about the state of the public transport in the area. They sit on benches outside the chip shop. Skinheads or pensioners? It's entirely up to you. The question is, I mean, how bad was the violence?
Although the Abbots Langley skinheads talk tough, their fights were never as violent as they seemed to outsiders. The gang favoured attacking their rivals' cars, for example, rather than fighting each other. They just wanted to establish a reputation for being aggressive, rather than actually hurting anyone. In all the months of fighting, only one person actually went to hospital.
Yeah, and he fell off a wall.
It's a game, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to go out with baseball bats and belt someone with it, you've got to expect it back. It's
Got to get kicky sometimes.
You know, people, if you get a phone call saying, right, we're coming up here, right, you know they're coming. So what do you do? If you don't want to be there, you ain't there.
So you were never there? Basically, they found out they're going to come and give us a kicking at 9. Ah, that's a shame. I've got to stay in tonight. Watch the telly.
After a summer of bigger and bigger confrontations, police patrol cars were called in from Watford by the parish council, and many of the gang ended up in trouble with the law.
The local community were, I think, overreacted, but because they were threatened by what was happening. Not so much because there was a great deal of violence, but because
none of the pensioners had anywhere to sit. They've nicked all the benches again. And of course, one of the other problems they had was that even though they was babe magnet isn't a word I often use, but as they were, you know, had no trouble attracting women normally, their reputation, unfortunately, meant that they couldn't get as many girls as their looks entitled them to.
We thought that, you know, with all this trouble, that we might get all the girls after us and all this lot, but I think that a lot of the girls turned away from us, you know. No, I mean, we were skinheads, they wanted things like soul boys and all that, like, you know, but that's up to them.
Yeah. Sure. That's what she told you, is it? It's because she wanted a soul boy, not because you got a tea cosy on your head and Spock ears. However, not always is rosy with them, because like a lot of young people, their treatment of the elderly was just needs to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, that's all. We're all right, aren't we? Skinheads.
Well, you're all right sometimes.
Do you think we're troublesome?
As long as you're not.
Do you think
yeah,
we're
sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
well. It's only occasionally.
You all are, though, aren't you?
Yeah,
but
we're
then
good
let's
lads.
face it, you're all somebody's sons, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, that's
See,
right.
I've got 3 of my own, so I might as well
yeah.
talk to you nicely sometimes.
It was horrible, officer. They stopped me in the street and subject me to a horrifying ordeal of buying me hot chocolate and giving me biscuits and saying, "Granny, Granny, please love us. We haven't got any girlfriends." Anyway, listen, I've got to go. I can't hang on because there's a phone box out somewhere. Somebody phoned me and the boys from Abbots Langley want a bit of a fight. See you later. Cheers.